This one comes in from, wow, that's a lot of questions. This one comes in from a guy whose name I cannot pronounce, but I guarantee you if you saw it, you would guess that it's Elon Musk, like the second kid or something. Do you train grip in other ways or train grippers mostly? Grippers mostly, but I plan to balance that out to do more fat bar and axle bar stuff. Recently made a pipe, got a pipe from Home Depot, cut it, and I have an actual bar with plates that I can actually work with, and it's pretty nice. I like it. How much can you double overhand? Do you think that grippers will help you with your deadlift grip? Yeah, I think the grippers do help, and I think especially rolling handle stuff, that helps a lot. But grippers do help because with the thumb and everything, it makes you have a really solid lock so it doesn't slip out of your hand. How much I can do? 385. That is the most I've ever deadlifted, and yeah, it's double overhand. Do you think training heavier grippers than you can close will help you close a gripper you're currently stuck on, especially the last millimeter, or will it train you in that range of motion that you're able to close? Yeah, so that's the thing. I would say for the most part, if you start training with much heavier gripper, what you're not gonna do is suddenly get from here to here. What you're gonna do is mainly go from here to here faster, and that's the thing. So I would say if you have grippers that sit in between what you currently are at right now and what you want to achieve later, then use those. So try to get bridge grippers. Cannon Powerworks is an excellent site you can get your grippers from. You can get them rated, you can get them pre-rated, but they're really helpful because you can actually you can put them in order which grippers you want to attempt, and it's much easier to do your training that way, because otherwise you can get injured. You can really stress it out. You're not going to close as heavy, because sometimes if it's 10 to 20 RGC higher, then it really doesn't do much good for you to constantly try to attempt it, because it's the last, like you said, it's the last millimeters that really need to be closed. And if you train from a wide set, then it's even more important that you try to get you able to consistently close one gripper before moving on to the next. So if you can credit card or wide set that gripper with ease, then I would say move on to the next one, but don't go too high in the jump. So maybe 1 to 2 to 3 RGCs at most. Don't try to go anything more than that. How did I get into grip training? Jed Johnson, Juji Mufu. I saw Juji Mufu's videos a while back in like 2019, and I got obsessed with grips because I was like, I have strong hands naturally, and I wanted to test it out. So I was like, oh, this is cool. They have actual grippers that are rated in these pounds and all that stuff. So I was, that's how I got started. Do you train your wrist? Does it help your grip? I don't train my wrist that often, but it does help, especially if you do a lot of wrist curls, the wrist flexions, because that seems to give you a good medium for the strength to travel through for your hand. If your wrist is solid and your hand is solid, that's a double plus. If your wrist is weak but your hand is okay, then you need to strengthen both of them. So I would try to say try not to have many weaknesses. But yeah, I as much as I said that, I don't train my wrist that often. But maybe I should. How big are your hands, wrists, and forearms? So my hand and wrist are both 8.4. So that's like 21, near 21 and a half centimeters. And my forearms, I don't know what my left one is, but I know the right one is 15 and a half inches, not pumped, but it's flexed at 90 degrees. Yeah. Next one, did you know your hands were really strong before you got into grip? Yes. Have you tried any steel bending? If so, do you feel having a strong grip background helps with bending steel and having a steel bending experience help with grip? I'm not sure because unless you're doing reverse style bending, I don't think you use much of your grip in bending. Classic example, there's a guy popular on Instagram because he's a really good steel bender, Josh Goldthorpe, and he demonstrated very simply that you take the nail or the steel that he's trying to bend, and he has an egg that he's holding. He has an egg in each hand, and he can bend it without breaking the egg because he's actually not using his grip. He's using a lot of his leverage from his chest to his shoulders to his arms and his wrist. So that stuff matters a lot more. Like I said, if you want to get better at certain things specifically, you have to train specifically for them. So the whole carryover discussion doesn't matter too much. You really just have to train specifically for those. But nevertheless, yes, grip helps with bending, and bending can help with grip. Yes, and as far as steel bending, I've tried it. The most I've gotten was a blue nail reverse bend. That's the most I can get. The blue nail reverse bend to about 90 degrees. And yeah, I basically never trained steel bending since February or March because they just don't sit well with grippers, especially when you go on to heavier grippers. A lot of times people can go, yeah, well, I don't really seem to have an issue. Well, when you get up to the high level grippers or the high bending, you're gonna start to see the real difference in how much can your hand tolerate, because it's not a lot. And this one, can you crush a hard potato with your grip? Yes, I can. I've done it a couple times. One of the perks when you're able to close a 3 or more is you can actually crush a raw potato with your bare hands. And I would say crush is probably not the correct term. What you really do is you dig your fingers into the potato and then you just kind of slice it in half. It's not really crushing or anything like that. But yeah, I've done it. Have you messed around with the Ironmind Eagle loops? I don't know what those are. I'm sorry. Or any kind of finger lift on a ring or a carabiner before. You think they will help you grip in closing grippers? I don't see too much. It sounds like it would be very isometric, so I'm not sure if that will help a lot. And it sounds kind of dangerous if you would load up a lot of weight on one finger to hold, to lift. I'm not trying that. So, what do you think of grip machines? Did they have any carryover to closing grippers? I don't know. I heard a couple people that have used it and they say that it does help, but I personally never tried a grip machine, and I probably never will unless I encounter someone who has it, because I just don't see the point right now, at least, in spending money for a machine that I'm probably never going to use more than once. How many grippers do you have in your collection? 20 to 23, 22. Why is your grip so strong? How can I develop a powerful grip like yours? Do you have any secrets other than training? Well, you can't, first of all, because most of my grip strength is genetic, and there's not a lot of secrets to it. Yeah, I do train, and I've done it for 2 years on and off, but for the most part it's genetics, because I'm fairly young and I have pretty strong hands for my age. So I don't know if you can have a strong grip as me, but there are several people that do for now. So yeah, I don't have secrets, it's just what I do, what I train, and for the most part my progress has been just because genetically I respond pretty well to training grips. This one, do you think grippers have any carryover to other grip exercises? Yes, not too much, but I would say other grip exercises probably have a better, greater amount of carryover than grippers would. Do you think arm wrestling develops good grip strength? Yes, I think they do, because when they do fat bar stuff, that really helps, because they have to hold on. They train containment, and some of them do grippers where they would have it here and then they try to close it with the wrist bent. So I've seen people do that. Alright. And this one comes from a Russian. Says, are you exercising naturally or using pharmacology? I think what he means by that is, are you using steroids or SARMs or some kind of a PD, or I don't even know. No, I don't. I also don't take supplements, believe it or not. So I'm completely natural. Yeah. And the question right below says, can you close 100-kilogram power twisters, those things that you hold at the end, and they're kind of a springy, like a springy steel bending practice that you try to just close like this with your chest. No, I haven't tried that, but I've seen people do it online. I probably will never buy it. It seems like a waste of time, but yeah. This one says, how many years have you been training and what is your exercise schedule? So 2 years on and off. What I mean by that is I trained for about 9 months. Yeah, I went from 1.5 to a 3 at 17 and 9 months. And I took a long break till late November, early December. Then I started doing grippers again. So I would say 2 years on and off, because I didn't have the most consistent training for the years. So yeah, what is my exercise schedule? Like I said earlier, about three 3 days. And the question right after that, what is your diet? So my diet, for the most part, is pretty healthy. Try to eat a lot of protein, so meat, steak, burgers, homemade, and fish, cod, salmon. That stuff's really healthy. Fruits, eat a lot of fruits. Yeah, just try to have a well-balanced diet for the most part. I don't structure my eating that much, so I don't tell myself, yeah, tomorrow I'm gonna have, this, and this. I kind of just go by the feel for the most part. Alright, so I think that wraps it up. Yeah, I answered every single question I could to fit it into one video. So yeah, that was it. That was the Q&A, the first one. There might be more to come in the future, but thank you very much for listening, for listing all your questions, and signing out. See you guys next time.